The Nigerian Christian community has been stirred by a new controversy involving well-known preacher, Reverend Isaac Omolehin.
A few days after, I went to Cape Town. And when I got to Cape Town, I'm told that the PFN had left an instruction that I should not be allowed to preach.
A bold claim has surfaced, one that has drawn attention across different denominations in the country. Reverend Omolehin alleges that the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, popularly known as PFN, deliberately blocked him from preaching outside the country. According to him, invitations to preach in places like Canada and Cape Town were suddenly cancelled under questionable circumstances.
And I was sharing with him about the persecution I am experiencing from the churches in Nigeria. I spoke to him how I went to Canada to preach. I was invited. I didn't just go, look at me. I'm not a young man. And I was told to buy your ticket when you come. When we're giving you honorarium, we'll package your ticket and put everything together. Now, I got there, and then they told me that they got an instruction from Nigeria that I should not be allowed to preach. So I was turned back. Now, where is my money? I spent $8,000. That's 16 million naira, because I fly business class. My wife also went with me. They didn't give me money. A few days after, I went to Cape Town. And when I got to Cape Town, I'm told that the PFN had left an instruction that I should not be allowed to preach. But the difference between my experience in Canada and my experiences in Cape Town was that the man who invited me in Cape Town put his feet down. That he has sick people in his church, PFN will not heal them. That he has sinners in his church, PFN will not save them. That he has people who need deliverance in his church, PFN is not going to do deliverance for them. How many dead people have PFN raised? That this man of God must be allowed to preach and minister to his people.
He strongly believes that a directive was passed to stop him from ministering internationally. The story fuels a major debate. Is this a deliberate persecution within the church, or a misunderstanding that has been exaggerated? Omolehin, a respected preacher with decades of ministry experience, insists that the obstruction was orchestrated because he spoke the truth about certain leaders. On the other hand, PFN has released a public response denying any participation in such an action. This situation has divided opinions. Some see it as proof that the Nigerian church has become a political battlefield where influence determines opportunity. Others argue that personal assumption is being mistaken for persecution. The controversy raises a deeper question. How transparent are relationships among top-ranking leaders in Nigerian Pentecostalism? Is this a genuine fight for truth, or just a clash of ego, emotion, or simple miscommunication? Omolehin's claims and background. To understand why Reverend Omolehin believes he is being victimized, it is necessary to revisit his earlier public statements.
I've been hearing of Apostle Arome for the past few years, but only last month I met him in the United States. And it was after then I began to also hear about the name of his ministry. And I was sharing with him about the persecution I am experiencing from the churches in Nigeria. I spoke to him how I went to Canada to preach. I was invited. I didn't just go, look at me. I'm not a young man. And I was told to buy your ticket when you come. When we're giving you honorarium, we'll package your ticket and put everything together. Now, I got there, and then they told me that they got an instruction from Nigeria that I should not be allowed to preach. So I was turned back. Now, where is my money? I spent $8,000. That's 16 million naira, because I fly business class. My wife also went with me. They didn't give me money. A few days after, I went to Cape Town. And when I got to Cape Town, I'm told that the PFN had left an instruction that I should not be allowed to preach. But the difference between my experience in Canada and my experiences in Cape Town was that the man who invited me in Cape Town put his feet down. That he has sick people in his church, PFN will not heal them. That he has sinners in his church, PFN will not save them. That he has people who need deliverance in his church, PFN is not going to do deliverance for them. How many dead people have PFN raised? That this man of God must be allowed to preach and minister to his people. So he put his feet down and insisted that I should preach. They are going to excommunicate him from PFN, that he was ready to leave. So when I told Apostle Osayi what I'm going through among the Nigerian churches, they are following me from nation to nation to waste my money, waste my time, and disgrace me. And Apostle Osayi told me that he had suffered the same persecution. So I now had a relief when I met him that I have a partner in hardship. We are in a serious trouble. That those who are saying the truth, they are being persecuted. I'm aware that maggots will never like those who want to remove because they live in the field. They survive in the filth. So if you are removing filth and dirty things, maggots will not like it, because then they will die. Those who are making money from the present rot, those who have made name by aeroplane and commercialized Christianity, and they don't want to hear anybody who is talking against that. Well, we are in a very long drawn battle, because I'm not going to keep quiet.
Some years back, Omolehin openly criticized certain wealthy Nigerian church leaders, including Bishop David Oyedepo and others who are often associated with financial prosperity in ministry.
There are others you will see. Once you see them, you readily know these are winners. And I pity people who attend such churches, because when the founders are gone, it's that same legacy of all sorts that will be following up.
He questioned the extravagance he saw in some churches and stated that many members in such congregations are suffering financially and therefore should be pitied, not celebrated. These statements stirred controversy within Pentecostal circles and triggered mixed reactions from different Christians.
So you have to be envied, not to be pitied.
Even though Omolehin later apologized for his comments, the apology did not end the tension. In his recent allegations, he claims that the apology did not bring forgiveness. According to him, some powerful figures in the church have not let go of the incident. He believes they are silently punishing him because he spoke boldly against what he describes as materialism, financial manipulation, and the commercialization of ministry. Omolehin presents the cancellation of foreign invitations as evidence. He claims that leaders who were offended by his comments are using influence to restrict his ministry reach. He interprets these sudden barriers as a form of punishment. To him, the church is suppressing truth, and those who speak against corruption are being sidelined and silenced. However, his position also raises other questions. Is it possible that the cancellations occurred for reasons unrelated to PFN leadership? Could changes in event planning, visa issues, or even personal conflicts with individuals in those foreign churches be the true reason? Or could Omolehin be linking unrelated events to a past controversy because of lingering emotions? Despite these uncertainties, his statements have gained traction, and many people see him as a man fighting against a system that is becoming more politically driven than spiritually motivated. PFN's official response: "We issued no directive." In a swift public statement, the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria responded to Omolehin's claims. PFN categorically denied issuing any instructions stopping him from preaching outside Nigeria. They stated that they have no record of such a directive and no involvement in any foreign ministry restrictions against him. PFN emphasized that it is simply impossible for the organization to control pulpits in other countries. According to them, there is no administrative mechanism that allows PFN to dictate who preaches internationally. PFN further clarified that their structure does not function like a political party or business corporation where orders are passed to silence individual voices. They insisted that the fellowship does not have authority over international churches and that no leader within the body has the right to ban a Nigerian preacher from ministering abroad. In their statement, they suggested that the alleged actions could have resulted from misinformation, miscommunication, or decisions made by individuals or organizations that have no connection with PFN leadership. The response puts forward an alternative possibility. Perhaps the cancellations Omolehin experienced were personal decisions made by the hosts for reasons unknown to PFN. It is also possible that individuals who do not officially represent the fellowship may have created misinterpretations, either intentionally or by mistake. PFN portrays itself as a neutral body that is being unjustly accused. This official stand introduces another dimension to the controversy. If PFN is correct, then Reverend Omolehin may be accusing the wrong people. On the other hand, if Omolehin's claims are true, then the church may have deeper internal issues of control, bitterness, and rivalry than many Christians are willing to admit publicly. Regardless of which side is accurate, the controversy exposes the fragile relationship between truth, influence, and authority in ministry. It also highlights how quickly conflicts can escalate in a religious community where leadership is often seen as sacred and beyond question. The Nigerian Christian public is now left to evaluate the situation carefully, asking, is the church witnessing a case of persecution, an overreaction, or a clash fueled by pride and misunderstanding? Only time, transparency, and honest dialogue can reveal the real truth behind this unfolding issue. PFN's position: pro-gospel and pro-Great Commission. In defending its reputation and standpoint, the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria seeks to remind the public of its core identity: a body commissioned to advance the gospel, not block it. They reference the words of Jesus Christ in Mark 16 verse 15, the foundational scripture commanding Christians to go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. PFN insists that this mission shapes its policies, relationships, and ministerial engagements. According to them, stopping a preacher from spreading the gospel contradicts the very essence of Christian assignment. From PFN's perspective, the allegations against them do not fit the profile of their purpose or operations. They describe themselves as a platform created to support ministers, provide unity, and help churches stand stronger in evangelism. With members spread across Nigeria and with global affiliations, the fellowship believes that its responsibility is to push Christianity forward, strengthening believers and empowering pastors, not limiting them. PFN emphasizes that shutting down any ministry does not only oppose the Great Commission but undermines Christian brotherhood. In their view, the body of Christ is meant to operate in unity, complementing and not competing with each other. The fellowship repeatedly stresses that it has never positioned itself as a gatekeeper that controls the destinies of preachers. Instead, they insist their mandate is to spread light, not extinguish it. By declaring their stance openly, PFN is indirectly asking the Christian public to examine their track record. If truly they exist to expand evangelism across nations, how then would they engage in blocking a preacher from reaching foreign congregations? The implication of their argument is that Omolehin's interpretation may be driven by personal assumptions rather than organizational reality. PFN frames itself as pro-gospel, pro-mission, pro-revival, and as a fellowship that would never benefit from limiting any genuine preacher of Christ. 5. Bring the proof. PFN demands evidence. Taking their defense a step further, PFN is not content with mere denial. They call for evidence. The fellowship openly challenges Reverend Omolehin to substantiate his claims with verifiable facts. Their demand is simple yet decisive. Provide the names of the churches that reportedly denied him based on PFN instruction. Provide contacts or individuals who claim to have received directives from the fellowship. Present a letter, email, recorded audio, or any document that links PFN to the ministerial restriction. According to them, truth must be proven, not assumed. PFN's request positions the matter beyond emotional appeal. By insisting on evidence, they show willingness to investigate the matter thoroughly. Their stand implies accountability. If any PFN affiliate leader acted wrongly, the fellowship promises to take action. They assure the Christian public that they are committed to fairness, justice, unity, and truth. This request also serves as a test for Omolehin's credibility. If he truly has facts, this is the opportunity to present them. If he can prove that someone somewhere used PFN's name to block his ministry, then PFN declares that such a person acted independently and must be held responsible. If no proof exists, observers may begin to see his allegations as emotionally driven or exaggerated. The demand for proof shifts the weight of responsibility. PFN is essentially saying that accusations without evidence are dangerous, especially when directed at a national Christian body that represents thousands of ministers. In doing so, the fellowship warns against using the church as a platform for conflict, drama, or personal battles. Whether Omolehin can provide concrete proof or not will heavily influence how this controversy unfolds in the days ahead. Is Omolehin chasing persecution for attention? As the controversy grows, a new perspective has entered the discussion. Critics are beginning to question Omolehin's motives. Some argue that he may be leveraging the idea of persecution to build a new image for himself. According to this view, portraying himself as a bold preacher who is being silenced by powerful leaders might attract sympathy, loyalty, and a stronger personal following. It paints him as a reformer who is being punished simply because he tells the truth. In the world of ministry, especially in this era of social media and public platforms, the victimized prophet or attacked reformer narrative can create a powerful emotional connection with believers who already distrust church leadership systems. If a preacher claims to be persecuted by an elite system, he can quickly be seen as a hero of righteousness, a defender of truth, and a voice for change. Some critics fear that Omolehin may be leaning heavily into such a narrative because it energizes supporters. However, this viewpoint does not dismiss the possibility that corruption could exist among powerful church networks. Instead, it asks a critical question: is Omolehin genuinely exposing wrongdoing, or is he amplifying a personal struggle into a public storm to build influence? Is his message driven by a burden for purity in the church, or by a strategic attempt to gain attention through controversy? These questions reflect a broader challenge within Christianity today. There is a thin line between genuine prophetic confrontation and sensational accusation. True reformers speak with proof, clarity, precision, and responsibility. But attention seekers tend to speak loudly, emotionally, and vaguely, without offering verifiable facts. Whether Omolehin is uncovering a hidden injustice or simply creating a narrative that benefits him remains unclear. What the Christian community now watches for is sincerity on both sides. The fellowship must remain open to scrutiny and accountability. And Omolehin must be willing to present evidence if he insists that he has been wronged. Only then will the truth separate reform from exaggeration, conviction from sensationalism, and genuine persecution from attempts to gain sympathy. A bigger issue: the cost of criticizing church leaders. Beyond the immediate dispute between Reverend Isaac Omolehin and the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria lies a much deeper and often unspoken reality. Publicly criticizing powerful ministry figures never comes without consequences. In any religious ecosystem, influence is a currency. Pastors who draw attention to themselves by attacking megachurch systems automatically enter into a political arena they may not be prepared for. Though Omolehin insists he is speaking against excesses and materialism in the church, critics argue that the moment he publicly mentioned the names of revered leaders like Bishop David Oyedepo, he stepped into a controversial spotlight he may not have anticipated. The backlash he claims to be experiencing may not necessarily come directly from PFN or any official organization. Instead, it could be the natural outcome of ministries wanting to avoid controversy by distancing themselves. Pastors and churches abroad, especially outside Nigeria, often avoid anything that looks like ministerial conflict. Hosting a preacher known for speaking against big-name pastors could be interpreted as endorsing their criticisms. Many churches prefer to invite ministers who bring inspiration, not controversy. Hence, even without a formal directive from PFN, Reverend Omolehin's reputation could have made international ministries cautious. The power of influence extends beyond borders. When a preacher publicly challenges popular church figures, they risk being perceived as a troublemaker rather than a reformer. This broader perspective suggests that ministerial platforms are not only controlled by institutions but shaped by perception. Churches globally operate through networks, pastoral reputations, and silent alliances. One harsh criticism can close doors without a single written instruction. Whether Omolehin is a prophetic voice confronting corruption or a minister whose words have created unnecessary tension, one fact remains: speaking against established leaders reshapes relationships, both locally and internationally. In such a world, reputation can open pulpits, and controversy can quietly shut them. What next? A case of truth, pride, or miscommunication? With PFN publicly demanding proof and Omolehin standing by his testimony, the situation now sits at a crossroads. The fellowship awaits evidence, the Christian public awaits clarity. What happens next will determine not only the credibility of a minister but also the integrity of a national Christian body. If Reverend Omolehin presents verifiable proof, names, dates, documents, or voices linking PFN to his blocked invitations, then the fellowship's credibility will be questioned, and the public will expect accountability. PFN will be forced to address how someone within or connected to their network could issue unauthorized instructions that affect a minister's global opportunities. Such a revelation would challenge the church to examine how power is used behind the scenes and whether corruption exists within its leadership circles. However, if Omolehin struggles to provide evidence, the narrative will turn against him. The public may see his allegations as exaggerated, emotionally charged, or strategically constructed to support a narrative of persecution. In that case, he may be perceived as a preacher who used victimhood to boost attention, attract sympathy, and strengthen a loyal following. The damage would not only affect his image but also the credibility of legitimate prophetic or reformist voices in the future. But beyond who wins or loses, this situation exposes deeper cracks within the Nigerian church community. It highlights how fragile ecclesiastical unity truly is. There is tension between established systems and outspoken voices, between reformists and institutional leaders, between accountability and mutual protection. Many Christians feel torn between respecting authority and confronting abuse, between honoring fathers of faith and questioning excesses. In the end, the controversy invites a necessary conversation on transparency, humility, and responsibility on all sides. Whether this is a matter of truth being suppressed, pride being offended, or a simple case of miscommunication being magnified, it has forced the church to look inward. And perhaps, that introspection, however uncomfortable, might be the real opportunity hidden behind the conflict.